Good news, everyone! It is time for Sci-Fi Distilled. And in case you haven't guessed, we are finally doing Futurama, which Mary Beth has been asking me for quite a while to do.
I have, but technically we sort of did Futurama before because I believe we did the Futurama Christmas.
We did part of some with all the other Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I don't think some Christmas episodes or something. Yeah,
but there's a lot more episodes than just.
Oh heavens, yes! We have to talk about this show's history because it's crazy convoluted.
Yes. So the reason I finally decided, because I've been watching, I like always watched it sporadically, so I never felt I'd watched enough of it to feel that I could even talk. And even now, there's so much.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
It's there. So anyway, we'll do what we can with it. So, but I assume we have news.
I just have a little bit of news. I have some Netflix news. Oh, and yes, guys, I do know that Acolyte dropped. I've not seen it yet, so no spoilers. I did
watch episode 1 last night.
Okay, was it good or bad?
Jury's out.
Jury's out. Okay. All right, I haven't seen it. I will check it out tomorrow. Netflix news number 1: Umbrella Academy final season. August 8th on Netflix for its 4th and final season. The trailer has been out for like a week-ish now. If you want to check that out, it is on YouTube. I love Umbrella Academy. I hope their last season is a good one. Prodigy season 2, July 1st on Netflix. And Netflix has confirmed that the 3-body problem will be back for not 1 but 2 more seasons. So I am super excited about that. I really enjoyed.
Speaking of that, I was thinking of that show thinking of it, and I kind of saw a plot hole that I kind of discovered that the whole aliens never right. They did well. I don't spoiler alerts. They didn't know what lying was. Like they didn't lie, right? But yet wasn't the whole simulation thing a lie? Like that was basically created. The VR thing.
You mean the game?
Yeah, that's essentially a story, which is what the guy was telling you about the whole thing when they discovered when he's given
maybe they differentiate purpose, like the purpose.
I don't know. It's kind of but I just thought that's kind of a lie. It's an entertaining. It's not real.
Yeah, that's a great point. When is it a story and when is it a lie? Which is sort of also the plot point of Galaxy Quest.
Yeah. Kind of, you're right. They did steal that from
as if to a child. Yeah,
you don't think Gilligan's Island is real, do you? Oh, those poor people.
Those poor people. Yeah, that is a great observation. Why would they get all upset about that story? And what story was it? It was like
Little Red Riding Hood, I believe.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's worth watching. It's interesting. It's odd. It's a strange story because it goes it starts in this one direction, and then all of a sudden. Like to me, it's like, oh, this mystery of where these VR thing and what's going on, and all of a sudden, it's like by the end of that season, it's like all laid out.
Yeah, well, it's kind of all laid out. I think the next couple seasons are even going to go like crazy farther. Like it's going to get.
I wonder if they're going to jump ahead in time.
Because remember, what's his name? The guy they shot his brain out.
His brain.
I think he's going to crop back up eventually.
Well, we know the other guy, the head guy there, a guy with the beard, the older gentleman, because they're freezing him periodically so he can move through time.
That's right. If you guys, I don't know when that season 2 is coming. When we find out, if you guys want us to do like a season 1 recap, we'd be happy to kind of run through it. It's a great and a really, really smart show. So my last piece of news tonight is, hey guys, there has been movement on that Paramount sale that I've been yapping about for the past 4 months, 5 months. I've been talking about it for a while. While we were all off Ticonderoga, Apollo kind of pulled Sony in, and Sony was like, okay, sure, I'll buy a Paramount, but it didn't quite happen. And now, finally, Skydance has sweetened their deal that they offered. They currently were going to give Redstone like $2 billion. They're going to buy out nearly 50% of the Class B shares at $15 a pop. That's me. I own Class B shares for $4.5 billion. And then they're going to contribute $1.5 billion in cash to Paramount's balance sheet to help reduce debt, which is really needed. This deal will not require a vote from shareholders. The deal is valued at $8 billion. No word yet if this is a signed and done deal, but people are excited about it and they think this is what's going to happen. So we shall see. We shall see what's going on with this. And that is all I have for news tonight. What? I know what we're drinking.
We're drinking Slurm. What else do we drink if we're doing Futurama? So this is what I found. This actually makes 4 12-ounce. So you got basically ginger lemonade syrup and some ice and of course vodka. Got to have vodka in there.
Brilliant
soda
color.
And some coloring to make it yucky green. You don't even need to do that. If you mix your drinks right, you can get that color. Trust me.
Slurm. And I
so there's Slurm, which is actually, what is it in the show? It's like a byproduct of a worm or something.
It's something disgusting from an alien. And but those they were eating poppers or poplars or something. Those were like babies too. Like, what are you people doing? Slurm, didn't Slurm get used in something else in some other sci-fi? I feel like it might have. Now I can't.
Not that I don't know. That's maybe somebody listening knows. So yeah, this show started in 1999. Of course, it's Matt. I always pronounce his name wrong. Groening.
I say Groening.
Groening. And of course, we know if you don't know who that is, you don't know who the Simpsons are.
Exactly.
And you can kind of tell it has the same style of animation as the Simpsons. And this one ran from 99 to like about 2006.
I have it right here. It ran from 99 to 2002.
2002.
Seasons 1 through 4 on Fox. And then they decided to pop up 2003, seasons 1 through 4 on Fox. And then in 2009, Comedy Central snapped it up.
That's right.
And gave us seasons 5, 6, and 7. And now it's over on Hulu. And we're going to get seasons 8, I think 9 and 10. I believe it's supposed to run right through 2026.
Yeah. So I think season 8 is already out.
Season 8 is out.
Yes, and I think season 9 is actually starting to drop, if I'm not mistaken. At least it's kind of hard because I'm watching it on Canuckavision, and you know how they just randomly post. Some things are off.
But that's true. But that's very par for the course for Futurama, because if I'm understanding correctly, they produced a whole bunch of them, and Fox ran them. Like, they had good continuity, and they were like actually progressing characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And Fox ran them all out of order. So all of us, when we first saw it, we were seeing it completely out of order.
Yeah. That's typical Fox maneuvering. They did that with Firefly. It was a battle royale with Matt Groening. Like, they kind of let Matt do whatever he wanted for Simpsons, and they were okay with Simpsons. I don't know if they loved it, but they were okay with it. Well, you think about Simpsons. When did Simpsons first air? Like 1980, like 8 or something like that. 87.
It's like a spin-off of the Tracy Ullman Show. So yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, there were shorts. Yeah, they were shorts on the Tracy Ullman Show. But I mean, that show has been now running for what, almost 40 years. How crazy!
Unbelievable.
Nonstop. I mean, it's not like this was
nonstop, not like this, not like this.
Every season. Yeah, and it's crazy. It's got to be one of the longest running TV shows. It's not a soap opera.
Or Doctor Who.
Yeah. Well, Doctor Who had gaps though.
Oh, that's true. It did.
There was pretty much nothing in most of the 90s and good part of the 2000s.
Bill, you should have a picture of Hypnotoad as a guest.
Yeah. Well, we have a person that we call Hypnotoad that we don't like, so we won't.
That we don't. Yeah.
We won't refer. We won't promote.
Refer to him as Hypnotoad.
So, and those of you who did New Voyages know who we're talking about.
Yes.
Hey, Doc, how are you? And Sue and Bill. So anyway, Sue says 1987. There you. Oh, and the Tracy Ullman Show. I think it. Yeah. So. Yeah. 1989. Sue's got Google.
So I mean, where I kind of started to go with that is Fox expected The Simpsons in space when Matt Groening pitched this, and they didn't expect what they got, and they really tried to control it and like clamp down on it, and Groening fought back, and I think it was a battle royale for a while there.
I mean, it kind of is. I mean, it's just silliness, and there's a few episodes where they're clearly, especially these newer ones, where they're trying to give some kind of social message.
Like they lampoon current.
Yeah,
and
there's a few
social-
things that they took a
Yeah.
this one of the most recent ones that aired was that they took a shot at the whole pandemic.
They did, and I think they took a shot at big crypto. Yeah, what am I
Yeah,
saying?
the crypto coin thing. Yeah, they
Crypto,
took.
yeah.
Yeah, that was all of these later seasons, though. I don't remember really seeing anything that I felt was
They kind of
really.
did. It was just,
Yeah, I
They,
mean,
but they took a shot at general, like they take a shot at but they were like lampoon politicians in general.
oh yeah, all the time. I mean,
They'd lampoon talk show hosts in general. Like it
Nixon's
wasn't
head,
specific.
is still president. So
Yeah.
I love it. Was it his what's the headless? The Spiro Agnew is supposed to be the headless.
Nixon's in the jar. Nimoy's in the jar. They're all in the jar.
Everybody's in the jar. That's the thing. They can bring up anybody from the 20th century. They're always just ahead. Exactly. Of course, there's the great Star Trek episode.
Oh, multiple.
Well, there's multiple, but I think the one is where they had pretty much the whole cast.
They have the entire cast. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the entire cast.
And
I'm actually, guys, going to put a link in the chat to a YouTube video that is every single Star Trek reference in Futurama as of 2 years ago. There are more coming as the show continues to drop. But yeah, of all the stuff they reference, and they reference a lot of stuff, Star Trek is the number one. It gets referenced the most. This is a very, very smart show, you guys. These writers, I actually wrote it down. The writers on this show, between them, have something like 3 PhDs, 7 master's degrees, and they have a combined over 50 years at Harvard. Like, these are smart writers. And sometimes there's math, like there's math problems, and sometimes there's obscure history jokes, but sometimes there's real math problems in the background. They've written in real, like, alien language that the fans then figure out, and so they have to change it and make it harder. Like, this is a smart group, and it shows. I think it shows in the quality of what's getting produced.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with this show is you can take it for its face value and just have it as a silly comedy cartoon in a sci-fi setting, or you can kind of look deeper and peel away some of the layers to it if you choose. I mean, you can do either one. I'm more of a just look at the surface. I'm not going to sit there and analyze the alien language that's on a board.
Well, so am I. But here's the thing is, right when I'm thinking, oh, this is just fun space stuff, they'll hit you with an episode like Luck of the Fryish or Jurassic Bark, and you'll go to bed crying that night. Like, they do have the sentimentality, and they hit you in the feels, like, deep down underneath all of it,
This is true. And I guess the whole theory about, they do a lot with Fry's family, that obviously is dead now. I think there's the one episode where he thought his brother was.
Yeah, that's Luck of the Fryish. Yeah, and he has I have my lucky 7-leaf clover.
Yeah, and it turned out that he wasn't.
Yeah. And he thought he said, my brother took my 7-leaf clover and stole my identity and had all the success. No, that was your brother's son, named after you, because your brother missed you when he disappeared.
Right.
And then Jurassic Bark is the other one that gets mentioned and referenced. Let's just get it over with now because it'll rip your heart out. This is the one where his dog Seymour waits for him. And I can't even talk about it. Oh my God. It rips your heart.
Not the funny thing, but the reality of that is, that's like a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like a dog would do that. And that's kind of what's
absolutely a dog would do that.
That's really makes it sad is that everybody that's a dog owner knows that their dog would do that. And that's why I think if you have a dog or any kind of pet and you could put yourself in that situation and feel how horrible you would feel that your dog was sitting there waiting.
That your dog waited for you and waited for you.
That's not to be morbid. They say that's a thing that if an owner dies, and the dog isn't around when that happens, that you should show the body to the dog.
I've heard that too.
So the dog is aware that the owner didn't abandon them, that they died.
Abandon them, yeah.
Yeah, so sad. We don't want to do that.
Now let's get to the fun stuff like Snoo. Or Zap Brannigan.
Zap Brannigan. Zap was actually written for Phil Hartman.
Yes,
and then unfortunately, Phil was murdered. As you guys don't know that story, by his wife. Just a crazy story there. So, but Billy West, who does obviously Fry, I guess impersonated Phil all the time. So he picked up the mantle of Phil of Zach Brannigan, who's obviously supposed to be a combination of
And
Shatner and I always think he's a little bit of the Doug McClure character.
Yes, he's a little Doug McClure plus Shatner. Yeah.
So, but he's
But
obviously
he's hilarious.
I'm sure Shatner doesn't appreciate if he's even aware of the character, because it's not a flattering.
I can't imagine he's aware.
I don't think is it supposed to be Shatner, or is it supposed to be Shatner's version of Kirk? So it's always because he's just a pig, It's just generally. Oh, Mary Beth is frozen. I guess I'm going to have to do this by myself because she's frozen solid. So I will go over some more trivia while we're waiting for Mary Beth to reconnect. That's so the name Futurama. I don't know if how many of you guys are aware of this, but it was actually the name of a General Motors exhibit at the 1939 New York World's Fair, and it just depicted a futuristic landscape, and that's what they got the name from, was Futurama. So, and then interesting enough, also lots of little things that they stick in there. We were talking about, like Bender's apartment door number is 0010000, which in binary is for the number 36, and 36 is a decimal number in the American Standard Code of Information Exchange table for $. So that was all very done on purpose, and that's what like stuff Mary Beth was talking about. They stick these things in all the time. So what's going on with Mary Beth here? Oh, it's just me. So we'll get Mary Beth back here in a minute, and I'm going to have to talk all by myself. So yes, Bill saying Shatner shut down MB. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe MB got canceled by Shatner. Shatentology. She's trying to get back. There you go. So, just reading some of your comments. Oh, he says Sue's saying John's cousin was in the beginning process with Phil Hartman. That's sad. Okay, she's back. Here comes Snoo. What happened?
I do not know what happened.
I was stretching by myself there.
That's okay.
I can't sit here and talk.
That was weird. All right, what were you talking about while I was gone?
While you were gone, I was mentioning where the name came from, which was the exhibit at the 1939 World's Fair, GM.
World of Tomorrow.
And Bender's door is the 001, which basically ultimately translates to $.
It does. And Bender's named after Bender on Breakfast Club, Judd Nelson's character.
See, I did not know that part. Isn't that interesting?
I've heard some weird things, some of which I don't believe. I've heard a lot of little trivial tidbits, some of which I don't believe, but we'll get to them. We'll get through it all tonight.
Yeah.
See, now why? That's so weird.
So the other thing is there's a lot of running jokes, one of them being the owls, which I never really got why they had a thing against owls. But if you do see a lot, you'll see owls as pest control type things for owls. And I don't know why owls we can't.
Apparently they did a really good job and got all the mice and rats, but then now there's like owls everywhere. So, which will happen. I mean, that'll happen in real life. Sometimes you bring in another animal to get the other animal, and then you have now you're stuck with the new animal. One of those things.
Yep.
All right. So where do you want? Yeah. So where do you kind of want to start? You want to go through these characters? Do you want to just talk about some of the funniest moments and best episodes?
I don't know. You're the one that really, you're the kind of the big super fan here more than I am. So whatever you want to do.
I have no idea where to
well, we can go through some of the cast. There aren't really too many people that you would, Billy West, of course, does Philip J. Fry. And J, by the way, for some reason, Matt Groening does J for the middle initials.
Yeah. Billy does so many characters on so many TV shows. He's one of those ones when you look on his IMDb, it just goes on forever.
He's got a lot. Yeah. So, and then, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, of all the cast, we move on to Leela, which is Katie Seagal, who we all know and love from Married with Children, but she's the only cast member who only plays one character. She only plays Leela. Everybody else has multiple characters.
Right. So, and one of the interesting things, so John DiMaggio, who does Bender,
Another one.
And I mentioned this before. He is also plays a what's it called, a Robo Brain in the Fallout 76 video game. He's like a drunk. He's a drunk robot. Basically, it's a human brain in a robot kind of body, so they call him a Robo Brain. So it's a drunken college kid, and it's his character. So it is, but it's definitely, it's Bender's voice. So that's kind of a little tidbit there.
He's around. You recognize him.
The rest of the cast is mostly people you wouldn't know unless you're into.
Phil Lamar. You would know Phil Lamar, who plays Hermes, our Jamaican friend.
Right.
And you actually would know David Herman. He played Michael Bolton on Office Space.
Right.
But yeah, he plays in a bunch of other stuff too. But yeah, and they have, like you mentioned already, they have a ton of guest voices. They got Stephen Hawking to be on and be himself, like for 3 different episodes. They got Al Gore on there. They got a ton of celebrity guest stars.
Yeah, they do always say that so and so as themselves.
And so as themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of funny that they got, like Al Gore did that. And oh no, I'm thinking of Family Guy, because I say Patrick Stewart does a lot, but he's always on. Family Guy.
I don't know that Frakes. I believe Frakes has been on this show, but I don't think any of the other Next Gen cast.
I think you're right. I was thinking of Family Guy because, like I said, Patrick Stewart's on that all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah. If Fez were here, he could rattle off that whole Family Guy episode where Stewie takes the Next Gen cast bowling or to the fair or wherever.
Why can't I wear my loafers? Because those are the rules, Patrick. Those are the rules.
Why can't just ask? It's a regional. Sometimes it's a regional thing. Just ask.
Yeah, just ask. That was the best. Anyway, so I don't know what else to say on cast. I mean, they're pretty much.
They're so talented. Yeah, I mean, they're just so talented. But these are guys, like all this whole cast. When you check out their IMDb's, they've done like every other animated everything ever. And video games.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So yeah, we can talk about some of the
John
highlights.
Goodman was Robot Santa. We talked about that when we did the Christmas episode.
Xmas. It's not Christmas. It's Xmas.
Yes, that's right. It's Xmas. It's Xmas.
With the killer Santa Claus.
So, do you want to do some episode highlights, or where do you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, let's just go through like some of the. So
top. We've already mentioned
a couple of the ones.
Yeah, we mentioned Luck of the Fryish. We mentioned Jurassic Bark. Those are, I think, easily the 2. I'm going to say most sentimental. Well, there's a couple other, but there's easily the 2 most sentimental ones. Other really good episodes that where no fan has gone before is the episode with the entire Star Trek cast. If you're looking for that one, it's called Where No Fan Has Gone Before.
Yeah, the original series. Yeah.
The one that I got my name from, Amazon Woman in the Mood. Snoo. Death by Snoo Snoo. And they're in the middle. The guys are all simultaneously delighted and horrified.
Right, and my name came from one of my favorite actual characters that always seems is Lur from Ruler of Omicron Persei. He always has to say the whole thing out every single time, and he's just like a big lizard guy.
Their newscasts in the evening are just a regular blonde lady, and then like one of those
giant alien who's always telling he's going to take over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I mean that it's funny because Family Guy does the same thing, a lot of them do with the news, and even Simpsons, they always have like the newscast telling you something stupid, that's going on. So it's always, and even if the world's ending, they're still doing the news.
They're still doing the news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other notable, I mean, there's a million notable episodes. I mean, there's just so many, but other notable episodes, Roswell That Ends Well. It's when they go back in time to 1947, New Mexico, and inadvertently become part of the famous Roswell UFO crash.
We've seen that trope before.
Yeah, we saw it on Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine did it. I mean, it was others have done it too, but it's kind of they like to do that one.
An episode called Meanwhile. Meanwhile was the very first finale. I think it was its very first finale. The crew delivers a package to Luna Park. Fry and Leela both mentioning this is where they went on their first delivery. And it's just kind of very sweet. I liked the season finale. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, where he's playing. Oh, I think it's The Devil's Hands. Hang on, I know the name of this episode.
Oh
The
yeah,
name of this episode is The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings, and it's another season finale where Fry uses the devil's hands and he's playing his magic oboe. I don't know what the hell. He's playing some magic
like an instrument that
and it creates the image of, it creates this fantasy, like this image comes up out of the bottom of the instrument. And then he loses his magic devil hands and he can't play the instrument, so he tries, and it just shows this really cute. This is another sentimental episode. This really cute little, almost like stick figures of him and Leela. Then they kiss and then walk off together hand in hand, and Leela's watching it, and it's just so sweet. It's just so sweet. Godfathers, The Why of Fry. There are just so many amazingly good episodes out there.
Well, there's like one. There's some silly like the Parasites Lost, which is kind of funny. Which is Fry eats a bad egg salad sandwich, and then it develops worms, and they basically, improve him in some ways. It was kind of a silly episode, and then they've always done things like with the mob, which I always thought was hysterical because they always do the stereotypical. There's like basically one called Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's with clamps. I love it. They're gonna clamp them. Got clamps. The clamps. I'm gonna give them the clamps.
There's The Day the Earth Stood Stupid. A Bicyclops built for two. Brannigan Begin Again, which is another Zap Brannigan. Oh, Prisoner of Benda is a really clever one, and it's notable because the Prisoner of Benda is the episode where the professor, good news, everybody, creates something where you can swap bodies. Like you go into someone else's body, but you can't swap back. You always have to go on to somebody else. So they were like, wait a minute, how many swaps before you can like go around everybody and get back into your own body? And remember I said there's 7 PhDs. I mean, there's 3 PhDs and 7 master's degrees on this writing team. They actually worked it out. It's a theorem called Keelson or Keeler, whatever the author, whatever the writer's name is.
Yeah, they need a certain amount of people to do
and they did the math on it to figure out how many swaps it would take before you get back in your own body. Like, that's kind of where this show goes sometimes, which is absolutely amazing. I already mentioned Jurassic Park, The Why of Fry. Oh, Fry in the Slurm Factory. That's what we were talking about when we figure out where slurm comes from, and it's actually disgusting. Parasites, Lost, Amazon. I've already mentioned Amazon. Bender's Big Score is a really popular one. I'm not a Bender lover. I don't care. Leela's Homeworld, another kind of sentimental one where she meets her parents, which is really sweet. I've already mentioned Roswell, the late Philip J. Fry, Time Keeps on Slipping, and Luck of the Fire.
Did you mention The Day the Earth Stood Stupid?
I did mention The Day the Earth Stood Stupid.
That was a good one because that
was a really good one.
Because Brett Fry was so stupid. There was basically these flying brains that were taking
there's a flying brain, but everyone turns stupid in that one, right?
Except Fry, because he's already so stupid they can't
suck any more
they
brain
couldn't
out.
drain his intelligence. So that was a good one. So I always like to joke about the other one I thought was pretty good is they always have the Harlem Globetrotters doing science. That I always thought was kind of a funny like why the Harlem Globetrotters?
When aliens attack is a really when aliens attack is the aliens attack and they're threatening because they want to see the last episode of Single Female Attorney or something like that, which was a spoof on what was that female attorney TV show that was so popular?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And you know what? She married Harrison Ford, that chick that played in it.
I know what you're talking about.
Callista Flockhart.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I cannot think of the name of the
Yeah,
show.
I'll
I
think
never
of it
watched
in
it.
a second.
Somebody in the
Ally McBeal. Thank you, Bill.
Ally McBeal. Yep,
Ally
there you go.
McBeal.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep. Big piece of garbage, a fish full of dollars. Like
So what?
so
So
many
you guys that are watching, put what you guys find, what some of your favorite episodes and why in the comments. I like to see what other people think.
And while you're typing, I'm gonna try to mention a few little weird things that they sort of paid off on the show. Shut Up and Take My Money, which is on my name thing down here. That is from the show that has become a huge meme. That gets used all the time. But in the very first episode, you don't see it. You just see Fry fall back into the cryo chamber. But if you look really, really careful, you can see Nibbler's shadow sort of down on the floor. And that's real, and it doesn't get paid off until season 4. It was actually Nibbler. Well, it wasn't Nibbler. Nibbler was there, and he was going to push Fry in, but then future Fry came and pushed himself in or something. There's
of course, Nibbler starts out as just a pet that Leela picks up, this little alien.
Yeah,
And then we find out he's really intelligent. And his poop is like neutronium or something. It's like super dense.
And it like fuels the ship.
It's like super heavy. It's like he's like shitting out a black what do you call it, black hole.
Dark matter or something.
It's it's supposed to be like really heavy.
Heavy, yeah. The thing about the show is, even though it's the future, like everyone still kind of has the same problems. Like nothing's really changed. Like there are no new problems. It's all the same problems.
Well, it's just they just kind of. Well, it's funny because they even have they have like the class society, because then you have all the mutants that live under the sewer and nobody's ever allowed to go down there, and they're not allowed to come up. Supposedly, until we find out that, of course, for many seasons we thought Leela was just an alien and nobody knew where she was from because she has a lot of
she thought she
then
was.
We find out that she's actually human, but she's part mutant and her parents are mutant.
Yeah, she's just a mutant, and she was like the least mutated. So they're like, you know what, she might have a chance above. So they put her up, which is really sad. I was talking a little bit before about how Fox wanted The Simpsons in space. They didn't get that. There was some bit of argument. Groening fought back. This show got mismanaged. It was on at this awesome time slot, which was like Friday night with the other stuff for like 2 weeks. And then they put it like on a Tuesday night. How this thing has gotten as wildly, like as a cult classic, it has as popular as it has gotten is a mystery, because it is the most mismanaged TV show. Fox did not know what they had in this show. And I don't know that Comedy Central knew much more. Maybe Comedy Central just ran out of money and now Hulu's trying. I'm seeing a lot of pushback against what's called the Hulu seasons. I don't know. But they've only just started.
I noticed the later stuff doesn't seem as good as the earlier stuff. And I don't know why, if the writers changed or if there's execs that are trying to control it. As we always know that TV execs think they know better than the people who create the stuff in the first place and end up ruining mostly everything they touch.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you guys been watching the new stuff on Hulu? And what are your opinions on new versus old Futurama?
Yeah,
it's kind of a weird oxymoron of Futurama, old Futurama.
Yeah, Bill is saying the comments at the beginning are always entertainment.
Yeah, I did that. I put that up. Yeah.
I love that.
And that's a direct thing from The Simpsons. He took that.
Yes.
Bart I will not blah blah blah. He's always signing, something silly every time.
I will sign. I just want to shout out Christopher Ting and his orchestra, who create that amazing theme song that I freaking love. I fell in love with it the first time I heard it. I love it to this day. There's something about the bells. I love that theme song. It is so
It's good. It's catchy.
Good. It's super catchy. You find yourself bing, 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 bing. Like you just find yourself singing it throughout the day.
So Bill says it's good news for the good news, everyone.
Good news. Lower Decks has been canceled. In case
you guys haven't figured it out, every time at the beginning of the episode when the professor walks in, he always says good news. Occasionally he'll say bad news. I've got bad news, but it's good news.
So, this is really great that you're kind of comparing it to Lower Decks, because Lower Decks is chock full of Star Trek stuff. This is just chock full of everything stuff. Like it is chock full.
Yeah, there's tons of
stuff.
sci-fi references. All
Sci-fi,
over the place.
history, pop culture, current events, stuff and things and stuff. The professor his name is actually Hubert Farnsworth. He is named after Philo Farnsworth, the inventor of the television. Leela's name is Taranga Leela. She is named after French composer Olivier Messiaen. Is that how you say his name? Olivier Messiaen's popular symphony Taranga Leela. And he got the name Taranga from Sanskrit. And in Sanskrit, Taranga means time and Leela means play. So he wrote a symphony that is a play on time or time play. I'm guessing he means time signatures and music, but I don't know that for sure. Yeah. So
another thing that they do, you're saying they take a lot of stuff from other shows, is they take a lot of sound effects from
they do.
Star Trek. There's a ton of Star Trek sound effects.
Yes.
And if you know the TOS, you definitely you'll recognize them right away, especially the door, the swoosh.
Yes.
And then stuff from the Jetsons too.
Yes.
So which makes sense. If you're going to pull from, science fiction, you got to pull stuff from the Jetsons.
Yeah.
The Jetsons was the Futurama that, for kids from back in our day.
Yeah, it was. Except not quite as cutting. Quite as sharp.
I mean, that was made for kids. This is obviously made for adults.
This is made for adults. Christopher LaRoche, good news. I made it. The other thing I wanted to talk about just a little bit was, Matt Groening did not turn his back on The Simpsons to do this show at all. As you mentioned, The Simpsons chugging on now, 40 some odd years strong. But there were a couple of crossover. Well, there was a lot of stuff, you see little things mentioned back and forth on either show. Little characters appear, but there was an entire crossover episode called Simpsons-Rama, something like that. And it was an entire full-on screaming crossover episode where the casts of both shows interact with each other. And I have to confess something to you guys. I haven't seen it yet. And I don't know how I missed it. I really don't. Like I was preparing for this tonight. I was like, wait a minute. And I stumbled across that. And I was like, oh my God, there was like an entire Simpsons Futurama crossover and I missed it.
Yeah, I must have missed that one too. I don't remember.
I don't even know what season that was in. Let me see if I can just look it up super fast what season that was in. But it looks super clever.
I know they did it with Family Guy.
Okay, so that is The Simpsons season 26 episode.
Oh, it's a Simpsons episode, not a Futurama episode.
It's not a Futurama. That's probably why I missed it.
Because I have not kept up with The Simpsons. So, yeah. So a couple of the episodes that I remember and I didn't care for were the ones where they kind of broke out. I don't know how to put it. I don't know the names of the episodes. There was one that's recently where they did it was Leela fell in love with the space prince or something, and they kept dropping away to these TV ads, but they were the characters in the TV ads. So they were for different toys. And they would spend 10 minutes on each of these toys. So the main story that was happening with Leela and this prince was just really nothing very interesting. You know what I'm saying? It was all they're trying to stick in. There was another one where they were doing all these weird TV shows. They were characters in TV shows in, I can't even remember the name of it, but I don't know. I found those to be this, I don't know. They were
no, you're not alone. Not every single episode of this show is a knock it out the park instant classic. It's got its share of duds, but I think it works more often than not. They make it work. And the other thing I want to point out is the character growth and the character development, and the fact that even the lesser character, it doesn't always have to be Fry and Leela and Bender carrying the show. Sometimes it's Hermes and Amy and Kif. And the whole Kif and Amy story just cracks me up to no end. How Amy came a long way. She's just this
real superficial, rich kid. Yeah. But then it turned out that she has this degree in shemisy or something, or some kind of actual And
her parents are rich. Her parents are the original crazy rich Asians, maybe.
Right. And so there's that, and then of course Kip ends up having babies.
And
He's
she ends up having
like an amphibian, so he has like all these. So they end up with these 3 weird kids, and they really turn out to be Leela's kids.
Yeah, well, the one has the one.
Apparently, they just touch any of them because apparently, if Kip just when he's whatever ovulating or whatever, and he touches another, which is why he always apparently wears gloves.
Yeah, he wears the gloves
on their DNA, and that's how he then. So they're not Amy's DNA at all.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny, but she's the mother of them. So.
And then another recurring character that I kind of get a kick out of is Mom, who is the old lady who pretends she's this sweet old lady, but really she's this cutthroat. Like she's got.
Oh, Mom, the one that builds the robots.
Mom's robots. Yeah, Mom's friendly robots or something like that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like RUR's Universal.
Yeah,
robots.
And of course we find out that Farnsworth, of course, back in the day had a
they
were a thing.
Yeah.
So
but they do some weird stuff. Like Fry is his own grandpa, which is kind of weird. I mean,
yeah, they did a whole story where they go back in time and he meets his great grandmother,
grandmother,
or becomes his own. I don't know. It's like some weird, bizarre thing. Yeah,
gets a little complicated.
And they bring that up in reference, like, yeah, don't do that. It's not a good idea. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Sue, Mom's iPhone. Sue is asking, was the crossover one episode or entire season? No, it was just one. It was one. It was episode 6 of season 26 of The Simpsons. It was The Simpsons. I don't think any of the Simpsons characters have fully come on over to Futurama, but the Futurama people have gone to The Simpsons. So,
but he uses a lot of the same jokes where Homer always eats things that are rotten or does something.
I mean, you can see the parallels.
See how it's like one of the funniest Simpsons episodes when Homer
Bender kind of Homer.
Yeah, I mean, well, there was one where the Homer's kind of a little bit of Fry, because like I said, one of the funniest Simpsons episodes was Homer eats this sandwich, this sub that he found under the couch that had been under there, and it's all moldy and gross, and he eats it. Of course, it makes him violently sick, and he's sitting there on the couch, and he's all feverish because he's got this nasty, and he's like, oh, so cold, and he's still eating the sandwich. Yeah,
and he's still eating it. Yeah. One of my just to digress with the Simpsons super fast, one of my favorite Homer eats weird was the time he eats the ghost pepper or the really hot pepper, and he's hallucinating. It's so bad. That is a really funny, because I think everybody's eyes are doing like hypnotoad eyes. Like I think he's seeing people.
The sound for that, by the way, is like a jet engine that they run in reverse.
Like all you hear is when hypnotoad comes on.
That's all the show is just the frog hypnotizing you.
Hypnotoad, and that's all he does. Is he just sits there and his eyes go, and people just stare at it for hours and hours.
Yeah.
Let me get back to my notes here so I can see what else I want to talk about. Oh, here's a really good example of something that I just stumbled across in my research, and I don't believe it. Someone said that their ship, the Planetary Express. What's the name of their ship?
Planet Express.
It's designed to look like Leela. I don't think so.
It's designed to look like Leela?
Yes. So it's got the one window in the front, that's the eye. It's got the one fin in the back, that's the ponytail. You know how she always has her ponytail. And I can't remember what the other details were. But to me, no. I
don't know, unless Matt says that that's the case. I don't think I'd believe that.
I don't think so. Fry's outfit, Fry's clothes are modeled after James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause. I mean, jeans, the reddish jacket, and a white t-shirt. That's pretty.
Well, he was a pizza delivery boy, so
Yeah, it's a pizza delivery boy. But here's the thing about this. Is this one of the few shows? Think of another show that does this, where the future is freaking hilarious. It's not apocalyptic. It's not dystopian. It's freaking hilarious. Are there any other shows like that on TV?
On TV?
Or are there any movies?
I mean, I would almost think there are movies that have kind of silliness to them. Like, I was thinking like Galaxy Quest, which isn't really a future, but
it's not
futuristic, sort of, version. Yeah, I mean, no, it's clearly it's unique in its way that it's nice in the case because usually at this point we're always thinking the future's not very bright.
Yeah.
We have
Right
Star
now,
Trek, which obviously has this kind of very positive look at the future. Although
oh yeah, that's
traditional Star Trek, I should say,
great
current
point.
Star Trek not so necessarily.
Next
bright.
Gen was deliberately very optimistic, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean the current stuff is much not as bright. I personally don't think Gene would be approving of it, but that's just my opinion. I never met the man, so I don't know for a fact. But anyway, I don't want to digress into that. So yeah, I think you're right. I think most people's take of the future is not positive. It may not be apocalyptic, but it's usually kind of dark. It's kind of very Blade Runner-esque.
Yeah.
Environment has kind of gone to crap.
Yeah.
Technology is very advanced, but there's still so much corruption and poverty. And
although admittedly in the course of the show they do say, well, I can't think of a good example. I think there were no more, the time they went skiing there were no more pine trees or something, and there was artificial pine trees, and they go trees up, trees down.
Yeah,
I think stuff like that has happened. I think they have done damage. Oh, there was the garbage episode where there was so much garbage. So there is stuff bad happening, but they deal with it. Like they deal with it, and it's funny, and it doesn't generally, because it's a show, right? So it doesn't generally affect their lives.
I mean, it's the whole thing is meant to be a comedy, so you're not going to put these too much dark, it's like The Simpsons with the tire fire that's always going at the dump.
Yeah.
It's constantly, it never goes out, or the the nuclear power plant that's always leaking radiation and toxic waste everywhere. The whole beginning of The Simpsons starts with Homer having an extra, rod, atomic rod stuck to his back, and he, throws it. So
Bill saying Lower Decks. Yeah, Lower Decks is pretty optimistic.
It's optimistic and funny.
It's optimistic. Because it is, of course, kind of built off of Next Gen. Like that's its time frame, right?
Right. It's definitely it's just after Next Gen, so to speak, after that era. So it's funny with the fandom there are people that absolutely hate Lower Decks, because they think it's making fun. Yeah, they think it's making fun of Star Trek, like that. It's the
no.
And it's
it is not making fun of Star Trek.
It's total. It's a total.
It's a love letter to Star Trek.
Homage to the fans, and it's all fan service.
For the 147,000th time, you have to know Trek in order to.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, I think later they got away from. I think some of the storylines, and again, not to get off Futurama too much, but I think some of the storylines with Lower Decks kind of went to the point where they were just funny on their own merit without having necessarily know,
of course,
everything. So,
of course. All right, I'm just looking through my notes. I think we've hit all the huge highlights that I wanted to talk about. They did, just so you guys, as you're looking through, if you're looking through all the seasons, they after that first cancellation, they brought it back as 4 movies. And they did open it up to 16:9 instead of 4:3. They made it.
Oh, that was just modernizing it.
That was just modernizing it. But then they took those 4 movies and they broke each movie into 4 episodes. So boom, right there, they had 16 episodes. And I believe that was on either that was the quick comeback on Fox, or that was when they came back on Comedy Central. So as you're kind of going through, if you're wondering what the heck's happening here, that's what's happening.
Okay.
And
I was asking a question, and I don't speak Spanish, so I'm sorry, I can't.
I don't know. Let's see.
If anybody speaks, maybe they can answer it for him or her. Anyway, but thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Hola, and thanks for watching. Hola, and gracias. So I'm just kind of going through my notes. I think I hit all the really big highlights that I wanted to talk about, and just I mean stuff that just kind of kept coming up. Slurm, Nibbler, Hypnotoad, Bite My Shiny Metal Ass. I talked about that already. Just
Well, there's like a whole episode with Bender's. Doesn't he lose? He loses it somehow, and he has to go.
Yeah, he actually loses his ass.
Loses his ass. It's just,
And he's
it's
like
just
running
a
around
plate
with it.
at the bottom on his. It's just not
Yeah,
even
and
like.
he's got like stuff down there, but he needs that
pan.
panel.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing with Bender is no matter what, he's always got room inside him to put something more. It's like basically he's hollow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and of course he's just a horrible. I would say a horrible human being, but he's not a human being.
He's not a human being.
So,
yeah, no, Bender's not my favorite. Like, you get the hang of him after a while, and you kind of tolerate him, but he's not my favorite.
Well, he's just supposed to be that. You're not supposed to necessarily like him because he's just constantly.
Like, if he was a real person, I would not hang out with him. Like, if he showed up at Trek Condoroga, I'd be like, get out.
At Bender at an event, yeah, he'd just be stealing everybody's wallets.
He would just go around stealing everybody's wallet.
I think it's funny that the robots run on alcohol. Like
they all
have to drink alcohol to keep running.
Yeah, Bender, Sue. Bender's hollow, for the world is hollow, and I've touched the sky. Yeah, Bender's chest is very much a TARDIS. Bender can produce all manner of things out of his chest, and his little antenna has served many, many purposes over the course of the season.
And the antenna is definitely a euphemism for another body part.
Yes, the antenna is a euphemism for another body part.
So it's kind of funny that that they always use it because he's one episode he loses it, they snip it off or something, and he's very upset that he lost his antenna.
The other character that I never really got the hang of is Dr. Zoidberg. Like, he's okay. I like him better than Bender.
He's always the butt of the joke, and he's always the one that they always hate. Like, they're always he's the Meg from Family Guy.
Yeah, he's kind of
he's always the one that they're crapping on.
Yes.
And yet he doesn't seem to mind most of the time. Like, he's just like, okay, I'll just take it.
There were a couple of sentiment episodes with Zoidberg. But for the most part, he's just kind of goes.
He's also kind of a disgusting character because he's also one that eats anything.
Yeah, he'll eat anything. For a doctor, he
lives in the dumpster outside.
Lives in the dumpster. How did he get to be a doctor? I don't know.
That was one of the last Christmas episodes where he's out there by himself because nobody invited him to Christmas, so he's in the dumpster by himself. He goes, "Just me and you, old sandwich," and he's got like this half-eaten sub sitting there, like
he's pulling a Homer. He's going to eat a gross sandwich for 3 days.
He has befriended the sandwich.
Oh, he named the sandwich. The sandwich's name is Harvey.
Yeah.
So like the very best of shows, this Lampoon's Society kind of as it is now. It's not as like right on point as the Simpsons is, but it does still kind of hold a mirror. That's the best shows. They kind of hold a mirror up to society.
Yeah, I mean, it pokes fun at modern society for sure, and I think that's what they do. And they don't do it every episode, which is good. I don't like them to
they do it in passing, and then they move on to something.
I don't think they get too preachy. I think like the pandemic episode, I thought was pretty funny because they were basically poking fun at the people that refused to wear a mask. And in this particular disease, it was allegedly passed by voice or sound. Because it was like some people were wearing masks over their ears.
Oh,
instead
interesting.
of over their mask. So of course there's always somebody, and it's like, just like the people that would do it, and their nose would be hanging out, or they have it down here, and that's something they had just the loops of the mask hanging off their ears, like that kind of thing, like they weren't doing anything. So I thought that was pretty funny that they were picking on that that particular episode. That was one of the much later ones. Of course, obviously it had to be around 2020, so. It was probably one of the first out of the must have been in the Hulu era, I guess.
Yeah, it had to have been the Hulu era. The Hulu era started, where the Hulu era kind of but right early in there, from what I've seen so far, is they had a little update on Kif and Amy's kids.
Yeah, that was one of those first episodes. Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's good. See, that's what I think that's
season. I want to say that's season 8. Yeah.
Yeah. You may well be right. 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. That 8, 9, 10 were on Hulu, so it has to be 8. Yeah, 8's all it's dropped.
I'm only up to like season 9, so I'm still behind on the really new stuff. So I try to watch it like at lunchtime when I'm eating my lunch. watch an episode.
There's so much. Actually, you know what? I have to confess. When I was talking about the Umbrella Academy earlier, I was like, "Wait, season 4? Wait, it's season 3. What was going on in season 3?" And then I realized, "Crap! I think
that was the whole thing with the birds, the
sparrows.
Sparrows, yeah.
Yes. So now I need to go catch up on. I need to catch up on Acolyte. I need to catch up on Umbrella Academy.
So Acolyte dropped 2 episodes last night.
So I have 2 to watch.
So there's 2 you can watch. I don't want to spoil it, so I won't tell you anything. Although that, I don't have an opinion on it. It was just 1 episode. It was really hard to. Just keep in mind they're not going to get any cameos because this takes place 100 years before Darth Vader. So this is Old Republic stuff. But we'll see. I give everything a chance, and
did Carrie Moss do okay
for the short bit that she was in?
Okay, all right, okay, that tells me a lot right there. All right, I will go.
Yeah, no,
not tonight, but I will watch this.
I don't want to spoil anything, so watch it, you guys. Maybe we'll come back, and when it's over, we'll
I was thinking about that because we haven't done 3-minute reviews on anything for a while. Maybe when Lower Decks comes back for its final season.
You guys like when we did that, our 3-minute reviews?
Did you guys like the 3-minute reviews?
Or do you want?
I would love
to do that. We could certainly do it for Acolyte starting next week.
And we could do it for Acolyte, I would do it, to give Lower Decks a really good send off because I'm a little. When
is Lower Decks?
I'm a little salty about. I'm not sure. Let me see.
Probably not till the fall. Usually it's a September.
Yeah. What season are we up to now? 5, 4, 5.
I know. Yeah. I had to start paying for Paramount again because the Mayor of Kingstown started again.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, it's a really good show. It's not science fiction at all, but also just is running now is Evil, which I like. That's kind of a fun show. So if you haven't seen that, they're going to do final season.
Yeah, soon Bill both like 3-minute reviews, so maybe we will.
All right. Well, we'll do Acolyte then. I don't know what else. There's nothing else really new.
There's nothing else going on right now, so yeah.
So anyway, so that we're pretty much being there. It's a great show, Futurama. You guys know it. We don't have to tell you that. It's a classic. It's going to be one of those ones that's going to be around.
It's genius.
It's going to be around forever. So
you will laugh out loud. There will be stuff that you absolutely
there's definitely some LOL moments, as they say.
Yeah.
So what does Phil and Roy got going on?
I actually don't know what Roy has. I should have looked it up because he was talking to me. It's been 4 years since I was on his show with him. And I did Moonraker? What was the Bond show that I did? And I was laughing.
Oh, with just Roy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did Moonraker.
I did
because you had never seen it.
Yeah, I watched it just for him. Phil is not on this week. He'll be on the Bill McNulty show tomorrow, talking politics at noon, and then he'll do the Friday night Freeform. I don't know what he's talking about Friday night, and so we're all kind of chilling this week. Nothing too significant to do. Yeah,
I don't know what we're gonna do. As usual, I have no idea. Any suggestions there from the peanut gallery?
Yeah, we would take it's June. We're cruising. It's summertime. We want to do some feel-good summer stuff. The Lazarus Project. What is the Lazarus Project? Is it an episode or a show?
Familiar. Is it a TV show or a movie?
It's a television series. Oh, you want me to watch an entire series? Oh no. How about a movie that I can just watch?
Series are tough. Series are tough for us to do because if we haven't seen it, it's hard to try to. I can't. I'm not a binge watcher.
We favor doing series after they're finished as best we can.
And it's usually something that's fairly really mainstream because
we've made a few.
It's hard to do. It's just hard to do series justice.
Is everybody coming back from the dead in this show, Sue? Why is it called the Lazarus Project? Where's Wikipedia?
Oh, she wants it for a 3-minute review. I'd have to watch it.
Originally.
I'll look into that and see because I'm honestly not. Oh, it's time travel. Okay.
Oh, it's British. Well, hell, that just put it up 2 notches in my estimation.
Has anybody been watching the new Doctor Who? I have not watched.
I have not yet either.
I have not heard great things, but I don't want to. No, we haven't talked about Dune 2. I haven't seen it yet, Jeff. That might be one we could do as the second
I
Dune.
have seen
You know
it.
who we'd have to have on for that one?
Bruce.
Bruce.
Bruce. If we don't have Bruce on, he'll
Big
be dead.
Dune fan. I'm not a huge Dune fan, but I haven't
And
watched
actually, probably Kent. Kent's a big. Kent
Yeah,
and Bruce both
and-
attempted to give me the novel, which I already own the novel.
I've discussed this.
Like,
I've read the
read
first
this.
book. I didn't. It didn't speak to me. I found it too much politics. It just wasn't really what I was interested in.
Everyone raved about Dune 2, and I
don't know. I heard some people say it wasn't as good as the first one, but
right there.
Yeah. I'd have to almost go watch the first one again. I mean, I know this basic story, but Doctor Who ? A.
Yeah, it's very thick. Yes, Jeff, it is very thick.
Yeah, it's a lot of politics.
I have read most of it. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to.
And it's kind of like on Foundation. You have to pay attention to what you're reading. It's not easy reading.
Lots of political machinations, like a lot of political chess. You know what I mean? Strategery. That's really
it's just based in a science fiction or
that's
space
not my
type.
strength.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot like I said. If you read Foundation and the Foundation series, it's kind of similar in that way that you kind of have to pay attention to what's going on. It's not a very easy read. So I actually preferred Foundation over Dune, but that's just.
But you know what, Bill? Here's the thing: is I was watching Dune 2, and I realized, you know what? I was totally okay with the Kyle MacLachlan one.
Yeah, so was I, and a lot of people, the hardcore people, hate it. So
unless you're like, no, that's the worst possible one. No, it's fine.
It explained a lot, which I think
I understood what was going on.
Yeah, this one I think, if I remember from the first Dune of this newest one, is that they didn't explain a lot. They didn't explain why the spice was important.
Yeah,
I thought that's kind of critical to the story. Is why
you have to know. Yes, really important.
Because I think they did a lot of that exposition on the 1984 version or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So maybe they did too much. I don't know, but it had Sting in it, so there's that.
It had Sting in it. Yeah. Chris wants us to do the Mad Max trilogy. Woo.
Oh, that's not a bad idea, Chris.
We could do that.
Although Thunderdome,
all three in one night, Chris, or do you want us
Thunderdome was kind of meh.
There's a lot of Mad Max.
Although I have heard good things about the most recent one,
Furiosa.
Yeah, I've heard that Furiosa is supposed to be pretty good. So
the 1984 movie got the Kyle MacLachlan got you
talking about Dune. Yeah, he's still on Dune. All right, give it up on Dune. If we do Dune, it's going to be like Bruce and Kent. I'm just going to sit here, eat popcorn, and let everybody.
Yeah, we'll get Bruce and Kent on, and then Rizzo and I will just sit back and let them kind of do it because we're not Dune experts.
No, not at all.
Not by any stretch.
Anyway, we are already past the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everybody for coming. It's a good crowd tonight. Thanks for all your comments. I'm doing better. I'm trying to do better about reading the comments and reacting and whatever. And
yeah, we need to pop them up in our little banner on the bottom there more often. But that's okay. Jeff Rubel, you are hilarious. We'll see you
next week with something. About Monday, I figured out.
Yeah, as we do.
Until then, live long and prosper. And as always, may the force be with you always. Good night, folks.